To work at the Central Intelligence Agency, you undergo some of the most grueling vetting on Earth. Exhaustive background checks, polygraphs, and intense financial scrutiny are the bare minimum to secure a top-secret clearance. That reputation for absolute security was recently tested by a routine internal audit. It revealed that over $40 million in highly classified physical assets were missing from a secure CIA storage facility. David J. Rush, a senior executive inside the agency, allegedly picked up these assets, put them in a bag, and walked out of the building. He then drove those millions of dollars to his house in Virginia and hid them in his basement for months. No alarms were tripped, and no one came looking. The lost millions are only part of the problem. The investigation revealed that Russ's entire 20-year career, which saw him rise to the highest levels of the federal government, was built on a complete fabrication of his identity. On paper, Rush was an incredibly impressive recruit. He claimed to be a decorated Navy Reserve captain and an Air Force test pilot, boasting a bachelor's from Clemson University and a master's degree from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Military records tell a different story. Rush was never a pilot and held 0 FAA licenses. His actual duty in the Navy was as an information systems technician. His academic background was equally thin. To secure his initial enlistment and subsequent government jobs, Rush provided the FBI with fake university transcripts. When federal investigators contacted those schools, both Clemson and Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute confirmed they had absolutely no record of him ever attending. He didn't just slip through the cracks once. He applied for government work 3 separate times over 2 decades using the same fake credentials. Every time, he was hired and promoted. Rush exposed a specific blind spot within the world's most sophisticated intelligence apparatus, a susceptibility to patient, repetitive paper forgery. Once inside the agency, Rush had access to its physical assets. While everyday banking relies on digital networks, a global intelligence agency still requires massive physical stores of wealth to fund covert operations. Wire transfers leave a permanent digital footprint that adversarial nations can track. Physical gold, however, is anonymous and can cross international borders without generating a paper trail. Rush intimately understood this complex logistics system. As he rose to the senior executive service level, he gained the authority to interact directly with the facilities holding these covert funds. This chart visualizes Rush's extraction timeline. Between November and March, he systematically requested gold bars as work-related expenses. He targeted facilities with lax oversight, keeping his requisition amounts safely below specific thresholds to avoid triggering an immediate audit. His requests eventually went beyond currency. Using the same operational loophole, he successfully requisitioned 35 luxury watches, including multiple Rolexes, straight out of government storage. Rush didn't have to break the CIA's security protocols. He simply used the agency's own legitimate bureaucratic rules to take $40 million. The 20-year deception finally collapsed during the mundane internal audit, when staff noticed the physical storage didn't match the agency's ledger. The missing assets triggered an immediate escalation. The situation reached a level where CIA Director John Ratcliffe had to personally refer his own senior executive to the FBI for investigation. Following a raid on his home in Virginia, federal agents are now trying to determine where the rest of the stolen money is hidden and what classified overseas operations might have been compromised by Rush's access. For 2 decades, a man with a fake degree treated the CIA's most secure vault like a personal ATM. If this level of fraud could survive undetected at the highest level, it raises questions about what other vulnerabilities exist inside America's premier intelligence agency. The operational cash and physical gold Rush had systematically requested for covert expenses were simply gone, forcing the intelligence community to make an urgent call to outside law enforcement. Within hours, the Bureau mobilized. The situation shifted instantly from an internal intelligence review to a major domestic criminal investigation. On May 18, 2026, federal agents arrived in Ashburn, Virginia. It is the kind of quiet, affluent suburb where senior contractors and federal employees live. It is a location defined by secure, mundane reality, the last place you would expect to find the physical fallout of an 8-figure intelligence heist hidden behind a residential door. Inside the residence, agents secured more than 300 1-kilogram gold bars. The raw market value exceeded $40 million. That specific quantity of gold is a massive physical burden. At roughly 2.2 pounds per bar, Rush had hidden roughly 660 pounds of raw gold inside a standard residential home. Stacked alongside the bars, investigators found an additional $2 million in bundled United States currency. The final component of the recovered assets consisted of 35 luxury watches, heavily concentrated in high-end Rolex models. The logistical friction of simply transporting that weight out of secure federal facilities and into a suburban garage or basement is difficult to process. 2 days after the search, on May 19, 2026, federal agents formally arrested David J. Rush. He was initially booked on a single federal count, theft of public money. During his initial appearance, his defense team requested bail, a standard motion for a first-time defendant. The presiding judge issued a definitive denial. The court's rationale was straightforward. The government classified Rush as an extreme flight risk. A man capable of spending 20 years successfully operating under a false identity has proven he possesses the exact skill set to vanish entirely. However, the massive cash recovered in Ashburn is far from the complete picture. This chart contrasts the verified $40 million recovered against the total volume Rush allegedly requisitioned from CIA storage. The requested value significantly exceeds what agents found. Was the remainder spent on untraceable assets, routed through offshore accounts, or funneled to accomplices? Right now, federal authorities have no confirmed leads on the location of the missing funds. The raid stopped the act of theft, but the financial hemorrhaging remains uncontained. Millions of dollars of taxpayer money are still out there in the wind. The financial loss, however, leads directly into a much deeper problem, determining what David Rush actually did all day. This redacted organizational chart outlines the administrative parameters of his position. He held a senior executive service rank and top secret clearance near the apex of the command structure. But what specific covert operations did he authorize? What sensitive intelligence did an imposter access? The CIA has maintained strict silence regarding the specific nature of his operational exposure. If Rush shared sensitive data during his tenure, the incident represents a 20-year collapse of national security protocols, reaching far beyond simple financial theft. And that brings us to the most alarming question of all. How did America's apex intelligence agency fail to realize they hired a phantom? The standard CIA vetting process is notoriously rigorous. Auditors review a candidate's financial history, request sealed transcripts, and conduct granular field interviews with childhood neighbors and former teachers. Yet Rush submitted an undergraduate degree from Clemson University that he never earned, and the system accepted it. He submitted a fabricated advanced degree from Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, and the auditors stamped that file too. These fabricated credentials successfully bypassed the government's highest clearance renewal systems 3 separate times over the course of his career. Congressional oversight committees are already issuing demands to understand exactly how this protocol collapsed. Either David Rush is one of the most sophisticated document forgers alive, or the baseline security apparatus defending American intelligence has an immense systemic flaw. While his false identity got him in the door, the actual theft relied on a specific mechanism built directly into the agency's accounting structure. The CIA operates an opaque financial black box, utilizing physical gold and cash because standard audits would expose their operations. As an insider, Rush understood exactly where oversight ended. He weaponized these blind spots to siphon off tens of millions of dollars. He didn't break the accounting rules. He leveraged the agency's own structural requirement for total secrecy against them. The initial charge of theft of public money is almost certainly just a placeholder to keep him incarcerated. The first genuine look into the government's full case will occur during his detention hearing, scheduled for June 5th in the Eastern District of Virginia. Behind closed doors, federal prosecutors are likely building a massive indictment encompassing 2 decades of sustained federal identity fraud. They will also be looking to file money laundering charges for the movement of those assets, alongside potential espionage violations if they uncover any operational disclosures. That June 5th hearing will determine exactly how wide the blast radius of this breach actually is. A single individual successfully lied to the Navy, deceived the CIA, and bypassed federal auditors for years, culminating in a senior executive literally walking hundreds of pounds of American gold out the front door. Which leaves us with one deeply unsettling reality. If a man with a completely fabricated past can ascend to the top of the nation's most secretive intelligence agency completely undetected, how many others are sitting in those rooms right now? Next week, we turn to a very different kind of investigation. We look at a man operating out of Canada who ran a quiet website, fulfilling simple orders for strangers. He shipped small, seemingly benign packages across the globe. Today, those specific packages have been directly linked to over 100 deaths across multiple countries. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss that investigation, and we will see you back